The motorsports world is where legends are made, the unthinkable happens, and barriers are broken. One man harnesses the power of an industry every week. This is the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor, with Jim Beaver.
Welcome to this week's General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Well, we are getting tuned up. We are getting fired up. We have the Mid-400 upon us. We are 1 week out from the biggest, baddest off-road race on the planet. I will be racing there, and we got a lot to talk about in regards to the Mid-400 coming up today. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show. Thanks to everybody tuning in on Sirius XM Channel 211. That is Dan Patrick Radio. Thanks to everybody for tuning in on the Sports Byline Network, the American Forces Network, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those good places you can catch a Down and Dirty Show. Thank you. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe button over there on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Keep helping us out, showing us the support. But, yes, we got a big show for you guys today. I will be talking Mid-400. Obviously, I'm racing in the race. Yeah, we're going to talk about it a little bit, right? So, to do that, I've got the man behind the Mid-400, Mr. Matt Martelli. He's going to be on the show in hour number 2. And hour number 2, we've also got some NHRA talk. That's right. I was out on site at Phoenix this past weekend for the NHRA, and I was able to catch up with Alexis DeJoria. You know what? She is back behind the wheel of a funny car, and awesome to catch up with her on site out there in Phoenix. We've also got my good friend Steve Torrence. Yes, 2-time Top Fuel champ, Steve Torrence. He's going to be on the show this week as well. But hour number 1, we're bringing the heat. We've got Mr. Rowdy Kyle Busch on the show today. I sat down with him. It's going to take up a couple of segments here, and I got to tell you, Kyle Busch, anytime you get 30 minutes with Kyle Busch, does not disappoint. Kyle Busch going to be on the show, making his Down and Dirty Show debut today. Yes, right here. You're in the right place for the best in action motorsports talk radio, and I am really, really excited to bring you today's show. If you got any questions for any of our guests, don't forget, hit me up. It is at JimBeaver15 on Twitter, also on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. But you want to interact during the show, Twitter, probably Instagram, probably the best 2 places, probably Twitter mostly. But, I want your fan questions. You got questions for one of our guests? Boom, hit me up. We will get them answered, my promise to you. So, yes, prepare yourself. We got a massive show, one of epic proportions, coming at you right here today on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high-performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode. beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver here, getting things started. Don't forget, we got Kyle Busch coming up here in hour number 1. He'll be in, kicking things off in our next segment. In hour number 2, we got Steve Torrence and Alexis DeJoria, also Matt Martelli with the Mint 400. So stacked show today, but once in a while something a little bit crazy on my end happens, which was the case this past week. What am I talking about? Just a little bit ago on my way to the studio here. I actually witnessed a shooting. And it's kind of crazy, and it's one of those things. I guess we got to talk about it, right? I'm a radio personality. We got to talk about what's going on, but just crazy. You never, all the respect in the world to police officers, you never realize, what they go through on a daily basis. And obviously, this is not an everyday occurrence, but I saw literally there was a dually truck took off the front of an officer's car. And then officer went up and approached the car, and basically the guy there was a little bit of an altercation where the guy slammed the door on the officer. Officer tried to bust the window out, and the guy that was driving the car he wouldn't open up, and then he took off and he started to drive away. And so the officer tried to shoot out the tires of the truck. And anyways, that officer's car obviously was damaged because the truck had hit the officer's car. So 2 other officers went in pursuit of the suspect. And I witnessed this whole thing. And it's actually kind of a crazy thing to actually see. You watch police shows on TV. We all see the Hollywood stuff, right? But to actually see an officer fire his firearm, I mean, there's actually officers that go an entire career and never fire one bullet. And I think what we see on TV and stuff has kind of made us immune to what actually happens in the realities of being a police officer, because you watch one of these shows and, man, they're firing guns all the time, right, on TV. But real police work isn't like that, and I actually witnessed an officer, and he did it rightfully so. Like, he had every right to do it. I wouldn't have waited as long as he did. And there's a whole lot more to this story, right? But I'm just kind of giving you the abbreviated version. You don't want me to draw 10 minutes of radio talking about this, but it's kind of crazy. It actually, and my daughter was in the truck with me, and kind of shook her up a little bit. And it was kind of an intense scene. And props to all of our police officers, all our, first responders in general, but all of our men and women in blue that tune into the show, man. Thank you guys for what you do. What I saw today, it's crazy, man. Tip of the cap to all of our law enforcement officers, and I know we do have quite a few of them. I've got my brother-in-law, my uncle, one of my best friends. I mean, I've got a lot of police officers that I'm friends with, and man, tip of the cap to you guys. Thank you for everything you do, because it was a little bit, I don't normally have stories like that, right? I mean, I've got crazy stories we tell, but nothing like that. So, yeah, there was that. But I was out at NHRA this past weekend. I went out there with my good friend Steve Torrence. Obviously, you know him and them Capco boys. He's going to be one of our guests on the show this week. Went out there with, hung out with Steve Torrence, got some interviews. Obviously, we'll have him, spend some time with Antron Brown. Funny story, though, and a lot of you guys know this now. Mia Chapman, she's been on the show a bit. She's I've come on as her agent and her manager, right? She's Red Bull's youngest female motorsports athlete globally on four wheels. Phenomenal talent, and so it's one of those, like, I want to show her the other side of motorsports. This is a girl who grew up in off-road, 17 years old. I want to show her the other side of motorsports. So we take her out there to Phoenix, and I'm there doing interviews, stuff like that. Her and her dad came out. They live in the Phoenix area. And I was hyping up, top fuel cars. So we're going to get you in the water box, Mia. She's going to look at me and said, no. I said, you're going to get an experience today, And I told her about, like, your lungs are going to be on fire. I said, your makeup's going to be melting off your face. I'm like, it's going to be like somebody punched you in the chest as hard as you possibly could. I said, you got to have earplugs buried in your ears so it doesn't blow out your eardrums. I said, you're going to feel the thunder in your bones. Like, I'm hyping all this up. And she's just looking at me like, you're totally just pulling my leg, right? You're blowing smoke here, Jimmy. So we get down there and we get kind of close. And I think she realized, this is for real. This is for real. And so we get her in the water box, which is, for those of you that aren't NHRA fans, don't know what I'm talking about. All drag cars, they go through a thing of water right at the back of staging. They go through that, and then they go and do their burnout, and then they kind of go back, get staged, boom, lights go. We were actually in front. We were right there about 10 feet off the rear tires, these top fuel cars. And Torrance's was actually Billy and Steve, and they were racing against each other. I can't say racing against each other. It was qualifying. But they went, and when they went, that thunder, that hit, that kaboom! I turned around, and she looked at me, and her dad was there, and he was laughing. And Mia looks at me, and we get done, we go back there, and I looked at her, and she goes, you weren't lying. And I was like, no. And she's like, everything you said. She's like, I thought you were totally like lying. She's like, it's for real. And I'm like, you can't even exaggerate a top fuel car. Like, there's no way to even exaggerate it. It's just madness. So I was out there at NHRA in Phoenix, and I was out there on Friday for qualifying and things like that. I had some rain on Saturday, and I wasn't out there for Sunday for the big show, but I love NHRA. Television, and their ratings are actually really good. Television does not do drag racing justice. It's one of those weird motorsports, like, you have to be there. I don't even know how to explain it. I would say ice hockey is very much the same. Ice hockey is like NHRA. You've got to be there. You got to feel it. You got to experience it. Like, ice hockey, you can watch it on TV, and it's exciting. It is nothing like being at the arena in person. NHRA, the exact same way. It is a motorsport for the senses. You see it, you feel it, you touch it. And hockey's the same way. Like, you go into the arena, you hear them, bones cracking against the glass. You feel the cold coming off the ice. You see the speed. Like, to me, there's just so much there. It's a sport for the senses, and NHRA, very, very much the same way. So good times out there at NHRA. A couple other big, heavy notes. I guess we'll probably get into more of them as the day goes on. We got quite a bit of news and notes to hit on today. But do want to give a big shout out to James Hinchcliffe. Obviously, we talked last week. He got a ride for a few races with Andretti Autosport. But my boy Hinch, he is one of the best personalities in all of motorsport. And Hinch now signed a deal with NBC to be a television personality during the IndyCar races that he's not driving. I think this was one of those where immediately he went out of a ride, and now all of us go, well, Hinch will get a TV deal, right? Well, you never know what everybody else has as far as TV deals go and when they lapse and things like that. And Hinch, he is such an amazing personality. He's such a funny guy. If you never listened to his podcast, you definitely need to. But it was so rad to see that James Hinchcliffe got a deal with IndyCar to be a TV personality, because adding him into the booth is just, it's going to be phenomenal. And I'm really excited about that. Other big news coming out of IndyCar, too. It's a big, heavy week for IndyCar news as we kind of gear towards that opening round, though. But Fernando Alonso, he has found a spot for the Indy 500 with McLaren. With the Schmidt Peterson Aero McLaren, I can't even think, what are they calling it, SPAM spam, but no, he's found himself a ride for the Indy 500. So Alonso will be back in an IndyCar for the Indy 500. I know he's been trying. He was pegged for a seat with Andretti. That didn't work out. But to see Alonso, one of the greatest drivers on the planet, back in an IndyCar for the Indy 500, that is massive. We'll talk a whole lot more about that as we get close to the Indy 500. That was some major, major news. So we are, we're going to take a short break. We come back. It is Kyle Busch right here on the show, here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'd like to welcome my next guest, Kyle Busch, to the line. Kyle, man, how's everything going?
It's going okay, I guess. We've certainly we've had our ups and downs already so far this year, but looking forward to plenty more wins, hopefully.
Yeah. How is it when you go to a track like Vegas? I mean, that's kind of your hometown. I mean, I remember as a kid, I can't say a kid because we're about the same age, but I remember you running dirt tracks in the Southwest. I remember watching you at like Mojave Valley out there by Needles. Like, how is it going back to the Southwest and being in the Vegas area?
It's good. I enjoy it. The West Coast and being able to go back to Vegas, California, Phoenix, it's kind of home's away from home, I guess, nowadays, being everything's out on the East Coast in North Carolina. But I enjoy it. I like it. Vegas, though, it's everybody's like, oh, how's it like going home and being in front of the hometown crowd and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, it's kind of a destination race for people. They kind of pick Vegas as a race that they want to go to, that they want to see a NASCAR race and have some fun in the city. So you get a lot of out-of-towners there. So, of course, there's family, friends that I guess family is not there, but there's some friends there that, I kind of grew up around and stuff like that come out and cheer us on. So it's always cool.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Vegas is probably completely different now. I mean, than when when you kind of grew up there, right? I mean, it's a total different city atmosphere. I mean, it's just you look at Vegas now and 20 years ago, there's no comparison.
Yeah, I haven't really been able to spend a whole lot of time out there, but every time I go there, there's kind of something else that's going on or being built, and obviously with the hockey team, the Las Vegas Knights that are now there. That was really cool and really special that they made it all the way to the finals in their first year. That was cool to watch. Now they got the Raiders kind of going to town, so it's really becoming a sports mecca. And when I was living there, growing up there, I was always kind of wondering, why don't we have sports teams here? And my dad was always telling me, well, they're just not big enough. We're just don't, there's not the amount of people there that would support a sports team. And so now I guess that the city's just grown so much. I mean, it's almost valley to mountain throughout the valley, and they're starting to go up the mountains now.
Yeah. So here's a question. Obviously now, your home, your family, your business, everything's in Charlotte. How was that transplant, man? I mean, I got to feel like that's home now, even though, you kind of come back to the West Coast. But how was that being a West Coast kid? Because I'm from the West Coast. How was that when you first originally transplanted to the East Coast? It had to been different, man, because it's everything is different on the East Coast.
It was definitely different for sure. You know, when you were done racing in Vegas late at night and you're on your way home and about everything's still open, you know, you could stop in the grocery store, the drugstore, you could go to In-N-Out Burger, you could find some food places that are open on the way home, whatever it needs to be. And then when you're out on the East Coast, you know, and sometimes you're out late at night or doing something, whatever it might be, and you're heading home and it's like everything's closed. There's not anything open. So you definitely got to look at what time things are open till versus Vegas. Everything's always open, you know. So that's definitely a shell shock. But other than that, living in Vegas, being a part of, you know, the town there, and never really did a whole lot of stuff down on the Strip. So that was always kind of a different, there's a life away from the life,
Yeah.
you know. There's a town, there's a community, there's all kinds of stuff that's within Vegas that isn't necessarily always the Strip. So that's kind of how it is in North Carolina for me, where, you know, there's always like a downtown, whether you live in Charlotte or Cincinnati or Nashville or something like that. There's always a downtown, but there's still the community outside of that.
Yeah, it's kind of the place you go when you got people in town, you want to show them something, but nobody that actually lives there ever really goes there, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's true for sure.
Yeah. So we do have to talk a little bit about Vegas, man. And I guess the big story coming out of Vegas, I don't think was the Cup race at all. I think Twitter blew up, and it had to do with the truck race, man. Talk a little bit about this bounty. I know Kevin Harvick threw some money out there. All of a sudden, you know, I think another $50,000 got popped in there by Ganderson. All of a sudden, we got $100K bounty on your head, man. I mean, kind of take us through this, because I know trucks is something you're passionate about. You've got your team there, but how you feeling about this number being put on you?
I mean, it is what it is. It's all right. You know, being in the truck series and being as good as Kyle Busch Motorsports is, I mean, I've been able to win 7 races in a row now, I guess, and should have been more than that. I think the one before the one that would have made it 8 in a row, I finished second, but we had a bad pit stop and I had to start dead last on the final run. That was only 20 laps wrong, and I couldn't make it all the way to the front in time. So, you know, we can win about any single race out there. And so Kevin Harvick basically said, you know what? All these Cup guys that are sitting on their couches and watching me race and saying that I'm cherry picking races, and they're not supporting the fact that I'm out there in my own stuff and doing good things for the series and for NASCAR. He's like, look, put your money where your mouth is, kids. Like, get out there and go and try to beat them then if you think that it's so easy. And, you know, so Kevin's actually kind of on my side about it, but, you know, there's some of these other guys that just think I'm cherry picking races, but man, you got to have sponsors to be in this business. And fortunately, I've got some good sponsors in the truck series, and I've got other good younger drivers that are trying to make it as well too. And you know, if it wasn't for Kyle Busch Motorsports and my team in the series, there wouldn't be the likes of Eric Jones and Christopher Bell and William Byron and Bubba Wallace and you know, Harrison Burton now in the Xfinity series. So you know, there's a lot of Noah Gragson in the Xfinity series. There's a lot of drivers that have come through our place that maybe or maybe not would have come through other people's places, but you know, I still take some credit in being able to help those guys and get them to the next level.
Well, and I think too, you know, me looking at things, and honestly, I haven't really studied the NASCAR truck, you know, the TV ratings or anything, but I got to think having you in for, you know, 5 races, or when you had Greg Biffle in the truck last year and he took that victory, I got to think, I mean, this is a big deal. There's a whole lot of additional eyeballs on the races then, you know what I mean? And there's got to be a spike in the ratings. I mean, you know, they can say whatever they want, but at the end of the day, they got to be pretty happy when you show up to race.
Well, I think it can go both ways. You know, you can certainly have your Kyle fans that tune in to show up and watch the race because I'm in it, and then you're going to have your haters that turn the TV off that don't want to watch it because they know I'm going to win, and that just irks them so bad that they can't stand to live with themselves sometimes the next day. So it's, you know, it's certainly a unique situation, but it doesn't matter to me. I go out there and try to compete and do the best I can with the stuff I got, and fortunately it's been pretty good lately. We've been able to win some races, and, you know, my other teams, they were competitive this weekend in Vegas. They were running second and third to me for a little bit there. They kind of got crossed up on a restart there and dropped back just a little bit, and then ended up in some bad traffic situations. So those are young kids trying to learn. We got to talk to them about how to get better in that, and you know, get them on to finishing top 5s and getting finishes out of those trucks that we know are good.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Cup race there, too, because how do you approach a race like that where all of a sudden, there's weather delays, there's all kinds of stuff, there's whatever the heck, happened with NASCAR, and you think you're starting in the front, all of a sudden you're starting in the back, man. How does that affect the game plan? I mean, I gotta think it's really got to kind of throw things out the window, and you've got a fast car, and all of a sudden you're going to have to pick your way through traffic over, 400 miles. I mean, how does your approach change on a weekend like that when, a wrench is kind of thrown in the plans?
I mean, you just got to do what you got to do. It is what it is. We've I think I qualified on the pole there back in 2009, and we ended up breaking a motor in final practice, so we ended up having to change the motor and go into the back of the field, and started dead last and was able to come up through and win the race. So this time around was way different situation where we had some body mods made where we were filling some areas of some Bondo with the nose piece and where it connects to the front fenders. You have to connect a metal piece of the car to a fiberglass piece of the car, and I guess they didn't like the way our Bondo was, so we had to keep changing that throughout the weekend to make them happy. And unfortunately, they put us to the back for it. So we started dead last, and we just didn't have a very good car overall the whole weekend. When we were in final practice, we were only 15th quick, and car wasn't driving very good, and it kind of looked the same way in the race. We were only 15th quick in the race, and running around, 8th to 12th much of the day and kind of struggling along. And then there towards the end, we had a late restart, and everybody just goes crazy on late restarts anyways. And we got spun sideways on the front stretch, but was able to save it and keep it going straight. But they docked us a couple spots for that. So rough day, definitely just not what we needed at all to start our season. We're really far back, don't have a lot of points, and it's not looking good right now.
Yeah. Well, and I gotta ask. So you say not looking good right now. Well, we got to talk about your championship last year and the championship in 2015. I mean, we got to compare those because if anybody knows how to rally back and win a championship, it's you. I mean, compare your championship in 2015 to the one last year because both of them were hard fought, man. But the one in 2015 that was the one that wasn't supposed to happen, right? And now and you were end up crown champion. I mean, compare those, and how hard is it to win a championship? I mean, either which way you cut it, it's definitely tough at the Cup level, man.
It's hard. It's hard to win races, let alone try to win a championship. But 2015, I got injured before the season even started. Really, wasn't able to make the Daytona 500, and then had to miss the first 11 races of the season. Was able to come back. I broke my right leg and my left foot, and had to go through rehab and rehabilitation, stuff like that, in order to get that stuff back going and working right and getting ready to get back in the car. Fortunately, I was able to do that. Side note, all while my wife was pregnant with our first son, Brexton. He was born, 2 days after I got back in the race car for the first time at Charlotte. And, the first couple races didn't quite go very well, but then I think it was the fifth race at Sonoma. I didn't think I was ever going to make it through the race at Sonoma, and fortunately, here we are. We ended up winning the thing. And we were able to start our surge of being able to win some races. We won 3 in a row right there. Got ourselves in a good spot points-wise for, making the top 30 in points before the playoffs started. So that gave us eligibility to be in the playoffs. And then we made it through each round of the playoffs and to Homestead, and we won the thing, So it was kind of weird. We went through a dry spell, though, from Indy, which was, I guess, August all the way through to Homestead. So people kind of discounted us not really having a shot for the championship. And same exact thing happened last year in 19, where our last race win for the regular season was late June or something like that. And we didn't win again through the summer and fall stretch until we got all the way to Homestead. And we were able to capitalize there and win again. So people kind of discredit us that we weren't going to be capable enough of winning a championship. But you know what? We showed up when it mattered most, and we did what we needed to do. So just real proud of the effort that my team has done. I've had Adam Stevens on board since 2015, and, we've won 2 championships together. We've won 40-something races together. So it's been pretty awesome. Hopefully we can keep that roll going. We just got to get back on track here this year.
And we'll be back with more with Kyle Busch after this here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound of the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back here to the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Got Kyle Busch standing by. Kyle, I got a question for you. You've been at the Cup level for a very, very long time now. You're one of the winningest drivers in NASCAR history. What's the biggest changes you've seen, Kyle? I mean, in the sport as a whole, especially in the last decade, man. I feel like it's completely different now. I mean, obviously we've got, the playoffs and we've got stage racing and all this other stuff, but I mean, just a competitive aspect in a business aspect and finding sponsors and things like that. I mean, what's the biggest changes and the biggest shift we've seen so far at that level? Because I mean, we went from having, you'd have a sponsor, all season long to now, you got sponsors that are in these, 5-10 race blocks and things like that. I mean, how has everything shifted? I mean, I feel like it's just a massive change over the last 10 years.
Yeah, the part of it is just that the expense of the sport is way higher now than what it used to be years ago, and not many of these corporations are willing to spend much of their advertising budget on race cars and racing, and so that's why you kind of see the smaller blocks of sponsorship dollars that you don't see full season sponsors. But fortunately for me, I got the best sponsors in sports, most namely M&M's. I mean, they're my primary guys, even though you see different colors and you see Snickers or Skittles or M&M's or, another brand of M&M's on my car. It's all the same brand. It's all the same company. So, I have 30 races 32, including the non-points races that M&M sponsors. And then I have Interstate Batteries, which has always just kind of been the cornerstone of Joe Gibbs Racing, who also still sponsors the 18 car. So Interstate's been there for 27 years now and on the 18 car, and Mars has been there since I've been there in 2008. And, it's really cool to have our group the way that we do. But, some of the big changes that we've seen in the sport is just inflation, obviously. People, whether it's the drivers or whether it's the crew members, the crew chiefs, everybody's making more money now than what they used to. I heard numbers of back in the mid 90s where teams were running off of $3, $4, $5 million bucks. And that's because the drivers weren't making a ton of money. Crew chiefs weren't making a ton of money. Crew guys weren't making a ton of money. The parts to buy the cars weren't as expensive, so the cars were cheaper and all that sort of stuff. And nowadays, budgets to run a race team are somewhere between $25 and $30 million. So it's crazy the way that everything's inflated so big. And that's namely why you're seeing sponsors that aren't doing whole seasons.
Yeah. Well, all that being said, I mean, obviously you've been really, active in the business aspect. You've got your own team now, and you started out, Rowdy Energy. I mean, it's part of that, I got a feeling, at some point, you've got things like Rowdy Energy when it becomes, financially, successful, then you can kind of self-fund certain things to a point, right?
Yes and no. I mean, to me, the Rowdy Energy thing is, I've got my Rowdy Energy drink. Some people have said, "What's Rowdy Energy?" And I'm like, come on, it's not that hard. Anyways, I started that just because I feel like I wouldn't call myself an energy drink connoisseur by trade, but I drink an energy drink a day, and I'm kind of getting into my Tom Brady years, and I felt as though I wanted to start drinking something that was a little bit better for you, a little bit more natural. And so we have all natural ingredients and natural sugars and things like that. One of them is actually a sugar-free drink, and so it's sweetened with fruit sweetener, just fruit sugars and stuff like that. So it's all natural, but anyways, the concept behind that is people are like, well, you're making tons of money. You're a sports guy, blah, blah, blah. You don't need any more money. Yeah, sure. You're right. I don't. I'm not doing this for making money. I'm doing this for something that I enjoy drinking and that other consumers would enjoy drinking. That's a healthier choice that's out there for them to be able to choose to buy to, sustain their energy needs while also doing something healthier for their body. So, that's where this has all kind of come from and what it stems off of. And, the long-term play, whether or not I do sponsorships down the road or whatever, that's to be seen. But, right now I'm spending, millions of dollars of my own money to put this out there to get it going. It's definitely not a money maker, and everybody's already asking me to do sponsorships. I'm like, people, you don't understand. This is my own money right now.
Yeah.
Like, it would basically be like me taking my wallet out and just giving you money to sponsor and putting this name on there. Like, that would be brand recognition, not sponsorship. But maybe one day we'll get to that point. It's certainly an interesting model on how this whole drink business works. It's very challenging. All the big dogs seem to have a David versus Goliath mentality where they kind of hold out spots and buy up shelf space and things like that to keep the little guys out. So we got to work really hard where we're at right now, and hopefully we can do so, get into some stores later on this year, and especially the start of next year. People can find this stuff a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, only a couple questions left here, but do have to ask you a little bit about eNASCAR. I know I'm a franchised owner, and that's kind of how we got connected through iRacing, but you've kind of stepped in there with JGR and their program. How important do you think eNASCAR is and sim racing is to the sport of NASCAR? I mean, we've got these kids that are super talented now in their teenage years, some of them competing for, hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know what I mean? And it makes kind of NASCAR racing, accessible to anybody. I mean, what's your take on this whole sim racing and eNASCAR thing, Kyle?
I think it's quite interesting, with last year it kind of starting, and this year it's really kind of taken off. There's a lot more viewer around it. There's a lot more hype around it. I know many of the other drivers as well have been getting involved and starting their own teams and stuff like that. So I think that there's like anything in racing, you can spend more money in order to go faster, and I think there's a way that you can really screw this up for for the little guys, if you will, with the setups and how to make the cars go faster and what sim life really is versus real life and the racing aspect and all that. But past the complicatedness of it, it's definitely pretty cool. Seeing William Byron, who started in the sim world and just driving on simulators and then getting into real cars and driving them and being good at it. I don't know that you see a whole lot of crossover like that very much, but I think Bubba Wallace took out a couple sim racers last year to go do some Legends car testing and getting them in the real thing and seeing how they did and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting though, and I think the sim world, we use it an awful lot. It's a tool for us that we use on the Cup circuit where, we have these $1 million simulators, not just the little rigs that people have at their home that you can use. It's just a different way, just a tool that we use to try to make ourselves better, our cars better, and our setups better. And I think that that's a interesting part to our sport. But a lot of sponsors have been getting involved with it as well too, namely Rowdy Energy. We're involved. We've got Malik Ray, who was leading the Daytona race and doing really good, and unfortunately sped on pit road for the final stop, so that kind of messed up his day. But it's cool to watch these guys and see what they're all doing, and seeing the different teams that are involved in it as well.
Yeah. So one final question before we let you go. Obviously, you won the Cup championship last year, but you also won the WWE 24/7 championship. Now, I'm a big wrestling fan, man. We got to ask you, how was that as far as career highlights going? How did that all get put together with the WWE?
Well, that's pretty fun. It was really a unique opportunity. We heard that they were in Nashville, and I was like, Brexton would like that. Let's go take Brexton and go over there. And so we called around, and they heard it was me, and they were like, hey, how would you like to be a part of the show? And I was like, well, okay, what does that entail? So they told me about this piece of the 24/7 thing, and I was like, yeah, sure. So we kind of did some talking with them about what we'd like to do and how it all turned out. And so it's kind of funny how the whole situation goes down with R-Truth, and he's running around with this 24/7 title. And, if you're able to catch him in the right spot and you got a referee in the vicinity and you can take him down and pin him, then, you can get the 24/7 title. So myself and Michael Waltrip, we got teamed up together, and we were able to get in the right position at the right time and take R-Truth down. And I was a 24/7 champion for about an hour. And then I guess while celebrating and doing some of the photo shoot and stuff like that backstage and, doing some media stuff around it, he came back up behind me and was able to take me back down and take the title back. So, that was kind of short-lived, but it was really fun in the meantime of being able to just get out there and see the show. Brexton enjoyed it, being able to watch the wrestling that was happening. And then, to have me be a part of it was cool.
Yeah, no, it was, as a guy that watches WWE pretty regularly, and I watch it with my daughter, actually, and all of a sudden you pop up on there, and everybody, there's celebrities all the time that are in there, and then all of a sudden you win, and it was like, oh, wow, that just happened, I think it was caught a lot of people by surprise. It's I guess those crossover opportunities got to be huge for not only you, but NASCAR, right?
Yeah, definitely. It was fun. We were in Nashville for the championship awards banquet, just coming off the championship there, and then, we heard they were in town and went over there, and they had us be a part of the show, so it was really cool. And crossover is always good between different sports. I've been to football games before. I know my brother goes to the hockey games at the Vegas Knights, and obviously having some guys all over that have different interests. I think Chase Elliott's into baseball, stuff like that. So it's always cool to have us kind of all around the place, and being in different sports sections of the U.S.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, I appreciate the time, my friend. I know you got Family Day on tap, and you're getting ready to hit this Western swing up, I guess, in full swing. But thanks for the time, and thanks for coming on the show, man.
Absolutely, no problem, man. Appreciate it. Good talking with you, and hopefully we can turn our season around, get back heading in the right direction. You're going to be the forefoot of that. All
right, thanks a lot, man. Well, not every day you get Mr. Kyle Busch on the show. Big thanks to Kyle and his team and good friends there at Joe Gibbs Racing for helping set that up. Kyle, definitely, he's, part of the eNASCAR program there with iRacing, obviously just, killing it at the NASCAR level, having some struggles to start out the year. But if anybody's going to bounce back and be a threat for the championship, it's going to be Kyle Busch. But one of those interviews, not very often, you get a chance to have a guy like Kyle Busch on the show. Very, very thankful for that, and you start looking at his career arc, and he's a guy who'll drive anything, loves being behind the wheel of race cars, but he's parlayed that into, even at a young age, becoming a team owner and putting together programs for younger drivers, and now he's entrepreneur, business model. He's got businesses. It's really, really amazing to see what he's been able to accomplish, not only in his NASCAR career, but as a motorsports businessman in general. Not often do you see that, that forward thinking, and the investments that he's done and really building things for the future. And when you get a driver who can do all that and you can see things, and not only that, but he kills it on the track. I mean, he's that guy where he shows up and, you expect him to be a top 5 guy, and when he's not, it's actually that's the story, right? When he's not winning, that's the story. I mean, how many guys get a bounty on their head for a NASCAR race because he's been so dominant? They throw out money to try and see if somebody can actually catch him. I mean, that's crazy. He's that good. And, to have him on the show, he's absolutely future Hall of Famer. Just so awesome to be able to catch up with Kyle Busch today here on the show, and really thankful to be able to do that interview. And hopefully at some point we can in the future. Big fan of him and his wife too. Man, she kills it. Absolutely kills it. She's a big part there of KBM and things like that. And just awesome, good people, and stoked to be able to have him on the show and. Just talk for a while. So good stuff. So we are going to take a short commercial break here on the show. We come back. We're going to wind up hour number 1. This is our Power Hour on Sirius XM, and then we're going to move on to hour number 2. We're going to have Alexis DeJoria, Steve Torrence, Matt Martelli with the Mint 400. Man, it is a stacked show today. We are just getting started right here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP Advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back here to the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Thanks to everybody tuning in on Sirius XM Channel 211 Dan Patrick Radio. Yes, this is going to conclude our Power Hour of the show. But, those of you that want to catch hour number 2 and you're tuning in on Sirius XM Channel 211, hit us up on Apple Podcasts or downanddirtyshow.com. You can catch the second half of the show there. I don't know. Bunch of other places as well. Those of you tuning in on the Sports Byline Network and the American Forces Network and all our local affiliates, you know what? You guys are in store for hour number 2. That is right. We're not going anywhere. We got a lot coming up. Alexis DeJoria. We got Steve Torrence. We've got Matt Martelli talking Mint 400, and we got news. Maybe we'll do some fan questions, some Q&As. Hit me up at JimBeaver15, and we will definitely get those questions all answered in hour number 2. But I just got to reflect back, man. Kyle Busch on the show, and we That's a bucket list one for me. It's a bucket list interview right there. Not often you get Kyle Busch on the show, and I'm kind of stoked on that, And not only that, I'm stoked. This is a good show. It's a good week. We got to talk a little bit about Mint 400. We'll talk that coming up out of the break. We've got Matt Martelli on too, but MMA fighters, man. Cowboy Cerrone is going off-road racing. Oh wow, you want to talk about a wild card, man? Cowboy, that guy will do anything, and I got to think he's going to be probably pretty competitive at the Mint 400. So, yeah, I mean, Josh Koscheck, another MMA legend, he's going to be racing the Mint 400 as well. Like, man, we got some legit AAA MMA fighters, and they're going to be converging on Las Vegas for the Mint 400. You want to talk about some big news? We got all of that coming up in hour number 2 right here on the show because, man, this is going to be a massive, massive week ahead. So stay tuned here to the General Tire Down and Dirty Show powered by Polaris Razor. We're going to dissect it all coming up after this. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out VisionWheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back here to the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. You know, and I got an interesting statistic here. I guess we're kicking off hour number 2 in a real big way, right? Immediately jumping right into things. I was reading something on cord cutting. And to be truthfully, last week I actually cut the cord on my TV service. DirecTV sent me a $233 bill. I whacked it and said, no, this is a bunch of crap. No more. Come get your stuff. Switch to Hulu with live TV. I can still get 99% of my motorsports, and life is definitely going to be good. So I started looking into things. I'm like, how many people are out there like me? They're frustrated, pissed off. You know, obviously live streaming's become huge in motorsports. And I started looking, and I found some statistics. So in 2018, there was 90.3 million people in this country, or in the households, paying for television via satellite, cable, etc. Right? Last year, it dropped to 86.5 million. So basically a 5 million drop. And then it dropped again to 82 million estimates this year. So like almost 9 million people in 2 years have cut the cord. Looking at cord-cutting adults, it's gone from 33 million to 45. So there's actually been a 12 million person increase in cord cutting. So I guess that includes non-pay TV households and things like that, people getting over the air. But 12 million adult increase have cut the cord. So like you're seeing this convergence where, you've got non-pay TV and pay TV, and it looks like about 2024 it's actually going to become even, where you've got the same amount of people in this country with paid TV services versus live stream services and things like that, Hulu, Netflix, things like that. So I don't know. It's one of those where it kind of hit me. I've started consuming my motorsports differently. Things like Supercross I now watch on an app. Things like IndyCar I now watch on an app. I watched King of the Hammers on an app. I watched the Mint 400. I'm doing the TV show for it, but I generally would watch it on an app. Like I feel like everything's shifting. It's a big industry shift now, and I don't know, something to look out for in 2020 as things continue to increase on the live streaming front. But I guess that's the way to kick off hour number 2, right? We're going to take a short commercial break, and we come back. I'm going to have Alexis DeJoria right here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Don't go anywhere. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
All right, welcome back here to the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. And so like I said before, I was on site out at NHRA in Phoenix for the second round of the NHRA series. Got a phenomenal relationship with the NHRA. So I was out there on site doing some interviews, also just taking it all in, doing some social media influencer stuff, having a lot of fun. That's the biggest thing, fun, right? NHRA is fun for me. Love going out there. So I was able to catch up with a couple of drivers. Next couple of weeks, we'll be sprinkling in some of those interviews and things like that. But one of those drivers, this has been one I've wanted to do for a long time. She stepped away from drag racing for a couple of years. Now she's back. And I was able to catch up with her there in Phoenix. And so if you hear some background noise, stuff like that, literally had a microphone plugged into my phone. That's the way I do these on site. So, it's not quite studio quality, but solid interview. Definitely, I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. So this is me on site at Phoenix at the NHRA event with Alexis DeJoria. All right, out here at Phoenix with Alexis DeJoria. I guess welcome back would be first off, coming off, I guess, I don't want to call it your debut, but I guess comeback last couple of weeks ago. But welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. So happy to be back and back at this racetrack where I got my first Nitro win.
So I got to ask, I know we're burning a little rust off. You missed the pit earlier today, right, when you were walking by?
I was in a deep conversation with a fan about our beer sponsor, ABK Beer out of Bavaria. It's the oldest brewery in the world from 1308. So I was doing a little bit of sales. So it was for a good cause. No extra walking ever hurt me.
So, that being said, I mean, obviously back this year, I know it's, kind of tell us about coming back this year. I know taking a little bit of time off, it was always planned to come back, but is there ever that little, kind of scratch in the back of your brain when you do leave, like, hey, I know I'm going to come back, but there's going to be a process to coming back? I mean, how's this whole transition been back into the driver's seat?
Of course, it was difficult making that decision, but it was a necessary decision. When you have such a rad team, when you have Tommy DeLago as a crew chief, Nicky Bonifane, you're driving for Kalita Motorsports, you have the best team, the best car, the best sponsor, and stepping away from that is beyond words. It was really, really hard, but also I'm a mom, and I had to make a decision where, if I was going to step away, this was the time to do it. My daughter was 16 or turning 16, and it was a pivotal moment for me. I needed to be there for her. So if I could make it happen, I was going to do it. And so that was it.
Well, and it looks like coming back this year, like you said, I think she's in college now. The time was right. On her way to college. One more year, but the timing was right. Obviously, Dell came into the picture. Like it seems like stars kind of aligned for this year.
It really did. It's something we discussed, over the years about possibly doing in the future, and seemed like the right time again, where everything just seemed to line up, all the planets. Incredible to be able to work with these guys. Dell's been my mentor since day one. He was my first crew chief, my teammate, and Nicky Bonifane, I've worked with him since day one at Kalita Motorsports, and even beyond that, in Alcohol Funny Car, we ran his clutches, so his clutch disc. So it's been like a nice, kind of family reunion, honestly.
So, in the 2 years, obviously 2 years isn't a long time to be off, and, coming back. But, is there anything you forgot? The first hit when you got behind the wheel, and you know what I mean? Was there anything, was there any surprises? You're like, oh, I forgot about that.
The speed, really. Not being in a race car for 2 years, getting acclimated to the speed was the biggest thing for me. You forget. I think doing it consistently, going over 300 miles an hour, 24 weekends out of the year, your brain gets used to it. You slow things down, and, you can pick everything out. But those first couple runs were like, oh, wow, okay, this is why I do this. It was a nice surprise, and, I'm happy to be back in that seat.
Well, and going into Pomona, obviously you knew you were going to be pretty quick. You're going to be competitive this year. I mean, I got to think, the way you guys ran there, that's got to kind of be considered a win, right? I mean, finishing in the top four, you guys had to be pretty excited about that and the prospects for the entire season.
Yeah, definitely. We're not new. None of this team is new out here. So, of course, we were going in very charged and competitive. To be able to go to the semifinals was a huge win for us, our first race back. My first race back. These guys never stopped, but my first race back to go to the semis was incredible. But, we're just going to try to build on consistency. We're not the fastest car right now, but we will be.
So here's the question. How has the NHRA changed in the 2 years you've been gone? I mean, coming back, obviously Funny Cars is as competitive as it's ever been, but has there been any big changes, in the processes and in the sport and the competition in the past 2 years?
I believe they've tried to slow the cars down a little bit, rev limiters and whatnot. It's a little different at the top end. I don't know if it's any safer because they're a little bit harder to drive with that on there because it's starting to spin the tires down track. But I know they don't want us going 340 miles an hour, unfortunately, because I was excited to get back and be able to run like that. There's just a couple teams that have been close to running that or have run that. But so you never know. We keep stepping on it, and the cars keep getting faster no matter what they seem to throw at us.
Well, and I know you did an interview with the NHRA, and you kind of talked about, you stepping away. Courtney Force was kind of carrying the torch for women in funny car, and now she's stepped away. You're back. Do you feel any pressure? Because, I know you'd love to deliver that first, championship for women in funny car.
It would be huge, but obviously there's a stiff competition out here. I've got a lot of great competitors, and it's not an easy feat by any means. If I could be the first one to do it, my God, it would be a dream come true.
So how, obviously been off, now you're back. How are you preparing yourself for this long grind? I know here at the start of the season we've got some breaks in between, then you hit that summer stretch, and it's like game on every single weekend you're on the road. I mean, is there anything you've had to do to kind of get back into the grind of things, of the NHRA grind?
I miss the travel. I've been traveling since I was a kid with my dad. He's always been a traveler. He can't stay in one place for very long, so I welcome it. This is what I live for.
So what's it going to take to put it on top out here at Phoenix?
Oh, man. We don't know. We'll see. Question. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully make 2 good runs today down the track. Tomorrow looks like a washout, unfortunately. But you never know. Weather changes. We're just going to try to make the best runs we can today, get it down the racetrack, and see what happens.
Well, I appreciate the interview, Alexis. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that was Alexis DeJoria there at Phoenix. I got to tell you, it's kind of an interesting concept when you come to funny car because Eric Ander's been phenomenal, in pro stock. You look at bikes. You got Angel, who has been phenomenal there. We had her on the show, end of last year, right? You look at Top Fuel, you've had countless amazing female drivers. I mean, Leah Pruitt's there now. You got Brittany Force, but, you want to talk championships. Angel's got them on bikes. You got Erica there on, in pro stock. And you look at Top Fuel, and Brittany Force was able to get one a couple of years ago. You look at funny car, and for some reason, Courtney Force wasn't able to seal the deal. You've got Alexis. She's been there a while, and I think there's a little bit of a chip on these women's shoulders. Like, hey, we need to get this deal done. We need to make it. We need to make it happen. We sign, seal, deliver this deal. And for some odd reason, it's the weird division that it just hasn't quite happened yet. And I think Alexis could be that person to get over the hump there, but I think she's got a little bit of weight on her shoulders, man. It's an interesting thing when you start talking about NHRA and you start talking about that, because I do feel like it's the one division of the NHRA where women have countless wins. They just haven't been able to get that championship for some reason, and I don't know. It's just kind of a interesting, kind of story beneath the story there. And you got to love NHRA, though, as a whole. You want to talk about a series that has completely embraced everyone, male, female. It doesn't matter. They've brought everybody in, and there's so many stars, that are on the same level. You know what I mean? I think that's what I love is that you look at the NHRA, and they're just looked at as drivers. In NASCAR, it's always been, there's that one female driver that does really well. Danica Patrick, Haley Deegan's now that girl. Even when Danica was doing IndyCar, it was that way. She shows up, and there's a big story there. It's like Danica, the girl, right? NHRA, they don't look at female drivers as girls. They're just drivers. Leah, Brittany Force, Alexis pulls up to the line, Erica, Angel, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? They're just another racer. And I think that's what's rad. That's what's always had me pumped, excited, whatever you want to talk about, respect the NHRA because they've really, really have been at the forefront of the women's movement in motorsport. And nobody's going to argue that. I think the proof is there. A lot of series can say that. NHRA has done that. And I think, to me, that's a massive, massive deal. And great to see Alexis back. She's definitely one of the personalities that everybody loves. She's got a rich history in the NHRA, obviously stepping away from the sport for the right reasons, absolutely. But I think she's been welcomed back with open arms. And to come out of the gate like she did there in SoCal at the opener and put together the runs that she did, sometimes there's a little bit of rust. And Alexis, absolutely no rust. Obviously, we opened up that interview talking about her rust. It was a funny joke because she literally was engaged in this conversation. All her pit crew was there. I was there. She walked by, didn't even look, just continued to walk by. She walked by. About 100 yards later, she turned around and went, oh, crap, I missed my pit. And that was what we were laughing about. You know what I mean? A little bit of rust, as in, like, couldn't find her pit, like rookie mistake stuff. It was a joke. So that she understood where I was going with it, but it was funny. Anyways, good talking to her. Good having her on the show. We are going to take a short commercial break right here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris RZR. And we're keeping at it with drag racing because my boy, Mr. Steve Torrence of them Capco boys, he's on the show next, right here. Don't go anywhere.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP Advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back here to the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Would like to, we're going to shift gears and go, I guess, down the NHRA route even further. We're shifting gears from third into fourth now, but I was actually out there at Phoenix and caught up with another good friend of mine. This is one of my dear friends in the NHRA, Steve Torrence, two-time world champ. Went down to the wire with Brittany Force, could have been 3. The most dominant driver of the past 3 seasons, hands down, in any division in the NHRA. And just an absolute, just a class dude. Love Steve Torrence. Always fun catching up with him. And this is a little bit more mellower of a Steve. We were sitting there back of his motorhome kind of hanging out. And like I said, live audio from NHRA. Might be some background noise. But I think you guys are going to enjoy this interview. Here's Steve Torrence. All right, out here at NHRA Phoenix with my brother Steve Torrence. And, Steve, I guess the opening round of the NHRA for you, I think you made the entire top fuel field mighty happy a couple weeks ago by skipping on Pomona.
Yeah, I probably did, or at least it's flattering to think that I did. But, the Capco boys, we got some really competitive cars. I hope that we can skip that race and come into Phoenix and get started here and really not miss a beat. But it was unfortunate. We had some things that were keeping us from getting everything resolved, but we missed that one. But we're here swinging. We came out and tested. We left our stuff here, and so I think it's well acclimated to the Phoenix weather.
Well, I think my favorite part of that whole thing is the press release that came out was signed from Mama Kay. I said, there's people putting out a press release, and then there's Mama Kay putting her name on a press release. And anytime that happens, I think at an instant it's like, all right, they're serious.
Yeah, we're the boss. Me and Billy are the bosses at Capco. Mama Kay's the boss over here at Torrence Racing. So she put that out, and we all stand behind her decision and what's going on. So definitely was an exclamation point at the end of that press release to have Mama Kay written.
So that being said, you mentioned your dad. I see Billy, he's racing this weekend too, right? We got a couple of Capco cars in action.
Yeah, the cool thing is he's the defending event champion, and I won the year before, so we're going to try to come back and keep it 3 in a row with the Torrence team and just see what we can do. But, man, those guys did an unbelievable job last year with the car that they had and him driving. So we need to have him out here. We need to try to help the fields as much as possible and just get some fan support.
Well, and I got a feeling, you guys roll up, and it's not just you. It's your dad, Billy, and you both defending, event champions past 2 years. And you guys got to think you got the red shirt on right now, but you got a hell of a target on your back, Steve.
Yeah, I always wear a silver belly hat, but I'm beginning to think I need to switch to black because I am the bad guy out here. It's a different vantage point. You're either on the bottom of the mountain shooting towards the top, or you're on the top of the mountain shooting down, and right now we're on the top of the mountain, and everybody's got a good square shot at us, so we just got to do the best we can and try to maintain that position. Back-to-back championships one championship's difficult, but to do 2 of them in a row is even more, and so these guys that work on both of these teams are very well seasoned in handling the stress and knowing what it takes to be a champion, and so I got a lot of support behind my back.
Well, all that being said, too, off season, obviously, you guys skip Pomona. We know you're going to be quick here in Phoenix, but you guys have, won just about everything the past couple of years. And, everybody else has been doing their homework this off season. Everybody's trying to bring a bigger gun to the fight. What have you guys been doing this off season to prepare yourselves? Because they're bringing it.
We work all day in and day out to try to keep the competition level at the peak. And, I mean, if you're not making steps forward in both of the fuel classes, you're staying stagnant, these guys will not only pass you up, but they'll pass you up really quickly. So we consistently work on different clutch management systems and things to try to make a little more power. We're all limited to what we can do, but it's just how you finesse it and how you get it to get down that racetrack. And I think that we learned a lot in the test session here in Phoenix a few weeks ago or a month ago now, and I think that given the conditions that we may have on Sunday with the possibility of rain Saturday and then cooler temperature Sunday, I think that the fans are definitely going to get some good head-to-head racing. That's going to be some throwdown times. I mean, I think that you may have 3 or 4 rounds in the 60s.
Well, all that being said, we got it's cloudy today, a little bit cooler. We got kind of breezy. Tomorrow's supposed to be rain. I mean, is all this weather, does any of it affect you guys in your approach to the weekend?
Yeah, it changes everything that we do. I mean, we have onboard monitoring systems to monitor the weather. We monitor the track temps. We keep track of everything that's going on. So it'll be tricky. I think that we have enough data here from years past that we'll have something to go off of on Q1. And then after that, you just need to make a good representative run. That way you set yourself up for a good position in Q2 to go out there, be back of the pack, and really try to stand on it. We need to try to go number 1 today. Depending on what the weather does tomorrow, you may not have an opportunity.
So switching gears here a little bit, we talked plenty of NHRA, but I know you got some big news. Looks like you're gonna be doing a little bit of cake testing here in the next week, man. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, I got informed of that just earlier today that I got a cake testing on Tuesday. So I got engaged over the off season, and it's a really neat opportunity to marry my best friend. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun. I've been giving everybody a little bit of a joke and saying that I've been working my butt off preparing for a wedding, which I haven't done anything. So
at least you're honest.
Yeah, I did my part. I asked her to marry me, and now she can handle the rest. But it'll be fun, and I'm looking forward to it, and we'll get that done here pretty quick.
So looking forward to this season. Obviously, you guys missed the opening round. Man, we're just kind of getting fired up. I know NHRA is a weird one where we got a couple of weeks where you run an event, get some time off, run an event, and then we hit that summer stretch, man, and it's a grind every single day. How you guys gearing up for that?
I don't know if you gear up for it or you just get ready to endure it, because the summer months we typically have 9 races in 11 weeks, and it's grueling. And so when you're on the road that much, you really appreciate the first part of the season where you have a couple weeks off and are not back-to-back every weekend. But I think that, more fans will be able to come out during the summer months and enjoy the races. So I think that's why they do it. But it definitely is grueling on us teams that travel the road.
Well, and, I think, one thing I've always liked, too, you're telling me you guys are firing on all cylinders there at Capco and Kilgore, too.
Yeah, business is doing really well right now. This is typically our slow time of year, but we've been able to stay, fortunately busy throughout the winter months. And it's not cold there. It's cool, but it's wet and muddy. So it's been some difficult working conditions, and all those guys that are working day in and day out to keep us out here, we're ever so grateful for them. And hopefully I can go home with a Wally to just show them a little bit of the love for the support they give us.
So the most important question of the day, how the hell was the hunting this winter?
Man, the hunting was pretty good. I didn't harvest anything, but I definitely hid out for a few weeks and didn't see anybody. So I enjoyed it. And I think the older you get, you realize that when you do harvest an animal, all the work starts then. So I've kind of diverted my attention from just harvesting animals to watching them. But I enjoyed the time off. We have a place down in South Texas, and we're able to get away. And I think now the phone may actually work, but I still tell everybody it doesn't, and I go there and turn it off and hide.
It's funny you say that because we go up a place in northern Arizona, same thing. We've always told everybody for years, and I guess I'm throwing myself under the bus here. But, yeah, there's no cell service, You just turn the thing off and pretend like there's not. Well, there's actually really good cell service. Now there's actually internet up there, with 3G, but we're still telling everybody, no, it don't work out.
It doesn't work. It's this phone I have doesn't work. Maybe yours does, but mine doesn't. So, yeah, that's how you get away. And sometimes that's what you need to recharge and just get your batteries back going, because between work, between racing, and just living a hectic schedule, sometimes you just need to get away.
So, what's the approach here? You and Billy, you end up lining up against each other, say in one of the opening rounds or something like that. What's the approach here? It's gloves off always with you two, right?
There is no different approach with my dad than there is with anybody. I'm here to chop his head off and win the race and talk trash to him all the way home, because unlike the other opponents that we race out here and we go back to being friends, I live across the street, I work with Billy every day, and the trash talk just doesn't go away. So whoever wins has bragging rights until the next time. So if I pair up with BT in the other lane, it's bare knuckles brawl.
It's a must-win, right?
It's a must-win situation.
All right. Thanks a lot, Steve. Always fun having you on the show, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Steve Torrence, always fun catching up with him. Like I said, one of my dear friends, one of my best friends in the NHRA, him and Antron Brown. Just amazing people. And, we're going to shift gears, though. Mint 400, Matt Martelli up after this here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high-performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'd like to welcome my brother Matt Martelli to the line, who is getting ready to head to his new home in Las Vegas for the next couple of weeks. We got the Mint 400. We're about 1 week out from that, Matt, and I know you've kind of become like a pseudo-Vegas transplant, I think, at this point, dude.
Yeah, it's definitely my second home, and, it's great. I love that town, man. I love the history of Vegas. The people are awesome, and you know me, dude. I navigate by food, so there's killer restaurants there too. So kind of got the best of everything.
You mentioned old Vegas, you know what I mean, and like the history of that city. It's one thing I like. Well, not only about Vegas, because there's some rad history there, but the Mint. You want to talk about an event like that, and I look at that, and I mean, that's one of the I guess you talk about legacies in motorsports, and I mean, it's definitely got to be a top 5 in this country as far as I'm concerned. As far as motorsports events, it's a Indy, Daytona, Pikes Peak. You know, I got to think you talk about legacies in motorsports in this country. The Mint 400 to me has got to rank right up there in maybe the top 5 or 6. You know, and you guys have been. It's not all forward looking. You know, you guys always nod back to the history of the event, and you bring in some of the past people that have been a part of it. You know, you play up the history of the event. I think that's what makes things special. I mean, things down on Fremont, the whole old Vegas feel, like it's been really rad that you guys have been able to modernize an event that's got a legacy like it is, but still stay true to the roots. You know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's one of the top 3 motorsports events in the country because, you know, it is the Great American Off-Road Race. I mean, this started, the first race officially was in 1968, but in 1967, you know, the founders sent 2 buggies from Las Vegas over to Reno as a publicity stunt, and that's what spawned this race. Is that was so successful that, you know, the very next year we were racing pretty much simultaneously with the birth of the Baja 1000. So, you know, for us, it's really cool that we get the opportunity to carry the history of this race forward and to really curate it and shepherd it. But man, I love the history, you know, and we keep the guys who did the race and were who raced in the race previously, you know, close, because they're all part of this. They're part of the DNA of not just the Mint, but the Mint really spawned off-road culture globally.
Oh, it definitely did. I mean, you know, you even got the Hollywood ties and things like that. I mean, there's been movies kind of, you know, about the event and around the event. And I mean, it's just, you know, I know you guys had Bryce Menzies not too long ago on the show, and we were talking about things, but, you know, he's an NFL player, retired. He said, well, they go, what are you going to do in retirement? He goes, I want to go to the Mint 400. You know, I like, to me, it's got that feel like people, all these mainstream celebrities, athletes, personalities, you know, they all want to come to the Mint at some point, you know, and it's become a bucket list thing. It's like a rite of passage almost.
Yeah, no, that was really cool, and that was Kyle Long, who, you know, said that in an interview, and of course our Google alerts blew up, and all of our friends started sending us screen grabs of different social media that had picked it up. So we reached out to him, and, you know, he was super stoked, and we actually took him for a ride in Bryce's brand new Mason 4-wheel drive trophy truck, and, you know, he was blown away, as he should be. I mean, that's one of 7 of those trucks that's ever been built, and, you know, it's you know, like I always say, more people on outer trucks, so it's a very, very special thing. But yeah, you know, I think that's one of the cool things about the legacy of the Mint 400 is it's always had actors and athletes and musicians involved in it, and, you know, we want to continue to carry that forward. I mean, because it just helps all of us. Bringing attention to off-road racing benefits the little guys as well, because it brings more business into off-road racing in the form of sponsorship support. It brings more fans and more eyeballs. And that's good. It's actually really important to us as we, you know, operate forward and have to fight for our open lands. It gives us some horsepower to turn back on, you know, the government and other people who we have to work with to keep these lands open. So, you know, if we continue to grow and we're high profile, we'll be in good shape. But if we, you know, if we slack, you know, it's going to be a problem. But, you know, fortunately, you know me, dude, we only have one way, and it's full throttle. It's, you know, shift it into 4th gear and drop the hammer and let's go.
Well, you know, let's go. We're right out a week out. I can't even say a week out at this point because festivities kick off really Wednesday there at the Mint. But, man, I mean, you know, you want to talk about full throttle. The next week ahead is definitely going to be full throttle. I know, you know, things a little bit different. You guys have added some stuff. Obviously, I'm just looking at the schedule, Matt. There's not a day that goes by that there isn't something massive. You start Wednesday with a parade. They're on Fremont. I mean, Thursday there's qualifying. We've got, Thursday evening, we've got, you know, the Pit Crew Challenge. You move into racing on Friday. I mean, Friday and Saturday racing, I know you guys changed those a little bit, but it actually is going to make for longer races, which I think all the racers are going to like, man. It's full throttle all week long, something for everybody every single day, throwing a bunch of kids and youth racing, man. It's a packed week.
Yeah, I mean, that was our goal, and is to continue to fill the schedule and include as many racers and fans as we can. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, it starts Wednesday with the parade down Las Vegas Boulevard, which is going to be awesome. We've got Jesse Hughes with his motorcycle. He's going to lead the actual race. Jesse is the lead singer of Eagles of Death Metal, who are going to be playing on Thursday night after the Pit Crew Challenge, a giant free concert. It's going to be awesome. So, he's going to be alongside our Grand Marshal, Bruce Myers, which is, really cool. Bruce is a friend of mine, and, obviously he's known for inventing the Myers Manx and winning the Baja 1000 overall in that vehicle. So he's pretty much the godfather of off-road culture. It's like, when you think about driving down the beach in your buggy with your blonde next to you and your surfboards, he's the one who created that dream. So I'm pretty excited to have him with us. And he's 91 years young, so it's pretty cool that he's willing to come out and really just party with us.
Yeah, well, and you talk Bruce Myers, and I'm not saying the sport of off-road wouldn't have at some point happened. But without Bruce Myers, man, I got to tell you, the landscape, especially in the early years, would have been drastically different. That's rad to have a guy like that back, man. I mean, anybody that's old school off-road or that really loves and cares about the history of the sport, I mean, Bruce Myers, man, he's as legend as they come.
Yeah, I mean, he was actually like the legend of the legends. It's really funny because Garner and McLean were really emulating him as they got into. So, that's what's cool about Bruce is Bruce was the original cool guy of off-road. I mean, he really did make it glamorous and cool and, really defined a culture. And, the vehicle that he built really changed everything and was knocked off by hundreds of different companies and still has influence today with vehicles. So, I'm stoked to have him. He was one of our legends on Legends Rally, so I got to know him through that. And just a really cool person with, an amazing, he's had an amazing life. And I'm really glad that we can have him here to show him a little bit of respect and, show him, like, this is the result of this crazy idea that he had as a young man. It's led to this. So it's really fun for us to share that with him.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the race because, obviously you got Bruce Myers coming in. We've talked about, you got a bunch of MMA fighters coming in. I mean, Josh Koscheck, we got Cowboy Cerrone. Like, this is just the entries. You start looking down, and, I mean, this is a fun cast of characters you guys have assembled for this race, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's cool because that's the Mint. The Mint is very, it's really the most serious off-road race there is in terms of competition. There is no other race that gets this level of competition in every class. So let's start there with giving a nod to, the respective champions. Lofton's back to defend his title. He's got a field of just murderers, and this year we have 5 four-wheel drive trucks entered that, really it's going to be a war to see if that platform can prove itself out. And, we're going 400 laps. It's going to be one of the most difficult mints to finish in the last 6 years. So just finishing is going to be a feat in any class. So, there's a wild and diverse character set. And, yeah, like you were alluding to, the 01 celebrity car is, what we're now calling Team BMF because it's Cowboy Cerrone, it's Brian T. City, and it is Jesse Hughes from Eagles of Death Metal. So you got a rock and roller with 2 MMA fighters sandwiched on both sides. That car is it's going to be a blast. So that one alone is going to be a blast. And then, yeah, like you were saying, Josh Koscheck, former UFC fighter, is racing with us. He is part of the military challenge, which we put together to help raise funds and awareness for our veterans in active duty military. It's a cause that's very close to my brother and I, as we both live very close to Camp Pendleton. We see these guys come back from combat every day, and a lot of people don't realize that we're still in multiple wars, and we've got to really go out of our way to support these guys. I mean, everybody talks about, being American and having pride. Well, this is your opportunity. Get off your ass and donate. 100% of the proceeds go to charities that benefit the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard.
It's awesome, man. I know this show, we air on the American Forces Network, and we've got military members from all over the world that are stationed overseas, and they'll hit me up on social media and tell me, that they love this show because they can be, out there doing what they do for our country. And, they get a little bit of taste of off-road and things back home. So I'm sure a lot of our military members are stoked on that. I'm sure they're going to be tuned into the live stream from all over the globe, man. And, talking about that's one of the big things about the Mid-400. The live stream game this year, dude, it's been stepped up. I mean, I think people are going to get one of the best live streams they've ever seen for off-road racing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, listen, one thing that we're not afraid to do is to reinvest. And every year we look at, our successes and failures, and we try and grow and make it better. And, this year we're live streaming the Method Race Wheel qualifying. So that'll be on Thursday, and that kicks the week off. And then we're live streaming Friday and Saturday. And we have a pretty spectacular live stream package that includes, helicopter feeds, drone feeds, and new to this year, we'll be doing in-car camera feeds live. We'll be able to show you the inside of race vehicles and actually talk to those drivers as they're racing the Mid-400. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, we just continue to step it up. I mean, you joined us this year as part of the talent team that's going to be covering some of the races when you're not in the race car. So that's huge. As well as we have a pretty all-star crew with Tiffany, Bob Bauer, myself, Jim Marsden, and a couple other people as well.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, man, I'm excited to get to Vegas. My favorite event of the year, hands down. I'd say Mid-400 and Crandon. Those are my top two, man. So I think the Mid-400 is definitely in good company when you put that in the ballpark with Crandon as the must-see events of the year, buddy. But I can't wait to get out there, on to Fremont and see the festivities. Have you have a cold beer with you? I know what we got Mid-400 beer this year, dude. I mean, you're really up my alley.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, Beach Breeze, a beer company, stepped up and did a custom beer for us, so you'll be able to get that on site, or you can order it online at dirtco.com. Come out and join us. So there's still tickets available for the start finish. We have a ton of stuff going on there, including Roland Sands Super Hooligan Racing. So one ticket price gets you monster trucks, it gets you Super Hooligan Racing, it gets you the Mid-400 off-road racing, spectating.
All right, Matt. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, my friend. We're up against the time break, but we will see you next week out there at the Mint, and we are going to take a short break. We'll be back after this right here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
And that's all we've got for this week here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Seriously, thank you guys for the continued support of the show. Thanks to everybody who tuned in on SiriusXM. They're on Dan Patrick Radio, channel 211. Those of you that are tuning in online, you can catch us there 10 a.m. Pacific on Sundays. Also, Sports Byline USA listeners, American Forces Network. Thanks to all our military. Go and subscribe over there on Apple Podcasts. Definitely helps us out. Leave us a rating 1 through 5 stars. Please do that. Take the time. Much appreciated. And check out my other show, Project Action. Big shout out to all our partners in the show: General Tire, Polaris Razor, Vision Wheel, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, Optimus. We've got also our good friends there at iRacing, as well as RacingJunk.com. And thank you guys. Yes, you listeners. Wouldn't be here without you guys. I will be out there at the Mint 400. I'll be racing my Polaris Razor. We got more radio coming at you next week, though. Don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. But we've got a special show we'll be doing on Fremont. I'll be doing some autograph signings. So we got a whole lot coming at you. It's at Jim Beaver 15 on social media. You want a discount at Dirtfish, it's Down Dirty DF. That'll get you 15% off at Dirtfish Rally School. And, come and see me at the Mint 400 next week. We'll do a show the next week before then. But, just a reminder, we're racing next week. So, you guys have a great week, a phenomenal week, and we'll see you next time here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor.